All right, section 5-6. We're going to look at even more inequalities, and this time in two triangles instead of just one triangle. This theorem is called the hinge theorem. So it says that if we have two sides of one triangle congruent to two sides of another, and we're comparing the angle in between the two sides, and we know the side across from that angle, then we can use the sides to compare the angles or the angles to compare the sides. If angle A is bigger than angle D, so we'd write it like this, angle A is greater than angle D, then we can say the side across from angle A, side BC, is greater than the side across from angle D, EF. The converse is true. Same thing, it's two sides of one triangle are congruent to two sides of another, and we're comparing the sides, the third side. So if HG or GH is greater than KL, then we can say the angle opposite HG, angle J, is greater than the angle opposite LK, angle M. So we're just comparing angles and sides in this section. Our first example, it says compare angle BAC and angle DAC. We want to know what's bigger, or so actually we need to know these symbols. So this symbol means greater than, and this symbol means less than. So make sure you jot that down in your notebook. Okay, so we want to compare these angles. We have two sides of one triangle congruent to two sides of another because the fours are the same, and AC is congruent to AC by the reflexive property. And so because we have those sides equal, we can use the hinge theorem. So to compare these angles, I'm going to look at the sides opposite those angles. The side opposite angle BAC is 7, and the side opposite DAC is 6. Since 7 is bigger than 6, we can say that BAC is greater than DAC. Let's try another. This example compares sides. So once again, I'm going to look for that two sides of one triangle are congruent to two sides of another. 7s are congruent, FH is congruent by the reflexive property. I want to compare EF with FG. EF is opposite this angle right here that measures 82 degrees. FG is opposite this angle, and we don't know that angle, but we do know that these two angles are supplementary. They're a linear pair. They form a straight line. A straight line measures 180 degrees. I'm going to do 180 minus 82 to get 98 degrees. That tells me this angle is 98 degrees. So the angle opposite side FG is 98 degrees. So I can say that 82 is less than 98, which means side EF is less than side FG. I always think the ones in the pictures like this are a little bit more confusing when you have three letters to name the angle. So let's carefully find this angle FGE. G is the vertex. FGE, so I'm going to put a little arc on that angle. That's FGE. And the next angle is HGE. I'll put a little red arc on that angle. I'm going to look for the hinge theorem. I have two sides that are congruent. 12 is congruent to 12, and EG is congruent to EG. So now I'm going to look opposite those angles. The side opposite angle FGE is 10, and the side opposite angle HGE is 9. 10 is greater than 9, so angle FGE is greater than angle HGE. Compare the sides. Again, we look for our two sides that are congruent. We got them, so we're going to compare these angles in between. 64 is opposite side AB, and 65 is opposite side BC. Since 65 is bigger than 64, I would say that AB is less than BC. It also works if the triangles are not attached. In fact, I think this is a little bit easier. We have two sides of one triangle congruent to two sides of another. Angle ABC is opposite 12, and angle DEF is opposite 10. Since 12 is greater than 10, angle ABC is greater than DEF. Compare the sides. Look for that angle-side relationship. So we have 8 is congruent to 8, and we have SQ is congruent to SQ by the reflexive property. So I'm looking at the side, PS, which is opposite 80, and side QR, which is opposite 100. So PS is less than QR. Okay, now we're getting to that range of values again. We're going to do a similar inequality that we did last week. First, I have that MA is congruent to MH, so these have tick marks. I know that MT is congruent to itself. So I'm going to be comparing these two angles. So I have, I'm going to write with black, I have 3x minus 9, and I have angle 57. Well, 3x minus 9 is opposite 21. 57 is opposite 33. Since 21 is less than 33, I can say that 3x minus 9 is less than 57. And I'm going to solve this inequality for x by adding 9 to both sides. And dividing by 3. X must be less than 22. That's one of the bounds. So remember, we're going to be writing our answer like this. We need to find, two numbers, a lower bound and an upper bound. So the 22 is an upper bound. Now we're going to find the lower bound. What do we know about this angle and how small it can be? Well, this angle, 3x minus 9, must be bigger than 0. I can't have a negative angle. So the second inequality that I solve is going to be with 0. So I add 9. 3x is greater than 9. Divide by 3. X is greater than 3. So x must be in between 3 and 22. That means x could be 5. X could be 20. X could be 10. Any number as long as it's in between 3 and 22. Let's try another example like that. Find a range of values for x. So x is in 4x minus 14. It's a side. I'm going to compare this side with another side, 22. And I want to make sure I'm looking at the angles now to figure out what symbol to use. 34 is opposite 4x minus 14, and 38 is opposite 22. 34 is less than 38, so 4x minus 14 must be less than 21. I'm going to solve this by adding 14 to both sides, dividing by 4. And now I need to find my other bound by saying that this side, a side can't be negative, so this has to be greater than 0. So I will add 14 to both sides, divide by 4. So x must be greater than 3.5. That means x can be any number in between 3.5 and 9. X could be 3.8. X could be 8.9. X could be 5, as long as it's in between 3.5 and 9. Your homework for this section is actually not a tangible worksheet. It's a Schoology test. So go ahead in the Schoology folder. You can take it up to 3 times. And you'll want to do your work on a notebook paper and then just write your answers in the Schoology quiz. Thanks for watching.